Doctors of Reddit, what's the biggest case of faking it you've ever seen? 30y/a woman came to the ED with such excruciating belly pain. Paralyzed. Oh god it hurts. When you press there. Must have oxycodone now. ED doc said, if she can get out of the ED bed and do 20 jumping jacks, we can give her the oxy. She did 20 jumping jacks, then got kicked out of the edition. Doctor should get a side gig as a personal trainer. Haha, just some personal trainer tempting all their clients with drugs and then taking it away at the last second. No painkillers, no gain, seized in swaths of sweet temptation. Sat beside the free weight station, palms a pool of perspiration. Pasty, vainly braced, there he worked it, winding, waiting, turning, twisting, twirled, rotating, training hard with will abating, bold resolve misplaced. So his firmness failed and faded. Give me drugs, he whispered. Jaded, just a sniff, he said, persuaded. Just a tiny taste. Reminds me of the time one of my patients, let's call him Chuck, claimed to have EHS, allergy to an electric power source. There is a messy situation, and he has to testify against an attorney. Let's call him Jimmy. That Jimmy tampered with evidence concerning another case. So they're in the courtroom, and during cross-examination, Jimmy stands near Chuck, raises the issue of his EHS, and asks how close Chuck has to be to an electrical object for his symptoms to be present. He asks Chuck to identify the closest source of electricity, and Chuck guesses that Jim is trying to trick him, so he asks if Jimmy has something electrical in his pocket. Jimmy reveals that he has his cell phone in his pocket, and Chuck calls Jimmy's bluff by correctly guessing that Jimmy has removed the battery. Jimmy then asks Chuck to reach into his own pocket, and when Chuck does, he pulls out the fully charged battery from Jimmy's phone. Jimmy reveals he had Hull, one of his goons, planted on Chuck when they bumped into each other on the stairs, and though Chuck has been carrying it for an hour and 43 minutes, he has not been affected by his supposed EHS. Chuck finally loses control and goes on an angry rant about Jimmy's unethical and dishonest behavior. He desperately exhorts the panel to disbar Jimmy, but stops in mid-sentence, realizing he has shocked everyone present into stunned silence. Jimmy somberly ends his cross-examination. My cousin got glasses. Her 7-year-old little sister also wanted glasses because she thought it was so cool to wear them. So she started telling her teachers she couldn't read what was on the chalkboard, and she'd squint at home and go incredibly close to the TV to watch things because she said she couldn't see things clearly. Her parents got worried and took her to the doctor. She read everything wrong on the vision test. Everyone seemed convinced that she needed glasses, but the doctor was a little concerned because the tests indicated she needed really thick glasses, and usually that wasn't the case unless there was a family history of vision issues. Her parents both had 20/20 vision, and her sister only had astigmatism. They all realized she was faking it. So the doctor told her parents in front of her that she'd need some pretty intense eye surgery so she'd be able to see without glasses. They even wheeled in a machine to make it convincing to say they could do the surgery right then and there. She freaked out, confessed to faking it all, and started to cry. She got grounded for a while. I remember I faked it when my brother got glasses because I thought they were cool. Turns out I actually needed glasses. They found an astigmatism in my eyes. Who knew? Turns out I actually needed glasses. They found an astigmatism in my eyes. Who knew? I never knew I needed glasses. I mean, how am I supposed to know what the world looks like to other people? Then I was amazed that I could see every detail of a tree. Edit. Just going to disable inbox replies. I love that you've all had similar experiences, but I'm on the spectrum, and I've got to read every single reply that comes into my inbox, which is exhausting. But also, woohoo, we can all see clearly now. I'm an IQ and a nurse. We get a lot of malingering in the air. One day, one of our frequent flyers came in and started faking a seizure in Tridge. Now obviously I know this lady and she's fake seized a million times before. But this time it's in the lobby in front of about 30 people who have no way of knowing that it's fake. She's lolling around on the floor making a damn fool of herself, and folks look horrified. I walked up to her and said calmly, "Karen, what are you doing?" To which this genius responds, "I'm seizing." I told her to stop seizing. So she did. Edit. No, her name wasn't actually Karen. I just did that for confidentiality. Oh man. Would love to have seen the face of all those people watching this unfold. That doctor is a miracle worker. Take my money. Resident on nights I had a gentleman pseudo-seizing. Really sad as this is common with PTSD and other mental health issues. Sternal rubs weren't doing anything. Basically rubbing a knuckle in their chest, which we often do to wake somnolent patients, but has other uses. So I'm casually talking to him, telling him what we are doing. I do this with patients that can hear me or not. Then I tell him we are going to raise him up in the bed and go to put an arm under his shoulder to move him. He looks at me and says I can do it myself. Proceeds to move up in the bed, then continues his seizing. Bless his heart. I hope he gets the help he needs. Edit. Yes, the bless his heart is sincere. Mental health is a drastically undertreated / not addressed aspect of our medical system, and I have great compassion for these folks. Yes, this has to be treated as a real seizure until proven otherwise, in case it does happen to be real. Thanks for everyone that brought up pseudo seizures are antiquated, and NES or psychogenic non-epileptic seizures is much more accurate. Meaning not having changes in brain waves consistent with epilepsy on EEG. Also, sternal rubs are very painful and are used sparingly when it is necessary to ascertain a patient's state, when powerful interventions depend on the information we are able to rapidly acquire. Not something to be taken lightly. Anyone with NES, there are clinics that can help you. Please seek out help. There is no reason to be ashamed, though ignorance and judgment is prevalent in any field. Working at a military hospital, I saw a doctor fix a patient doing this by explaining how there is an electrolyte imbalance, which fortunately has a quick turnaround. He grabbed a normal saline flush and a needle and told the patient he was going to give him the medicine and he will be better within 30 seconds. Guy stopped and asked, "What medicine is it?" Doc told him it was normal saline, that it was highly effective, and he rarely gives a shot like this. Gave it. Minute later he says, "Thanks doc, I think I'm ready to go now, I'm feeling a lot better." Amazing. I also get regular migraines, but the doctor said I was too young. I was like 7 or 8 the first time I got one, and it wasn't until I was a teenager that anyone believed me. Medication doesn't work, but at least I know they are real. Editing to add, I've been on multiple medications / diet / health plans over the last 15 years. Medical cannabis isn't legal in my state, and my youthful indulgences were less than positive. Turns out I'm someone who gets real sad when she's high. Everyone else would be so chill, and I'd sob for hours. The closest thing to a pattern that can be discerned is changing weather or barometric air pressure related, though migraines also happen at other times, so the doctor suggested moving somewhere with a mild, stable climate, like San Diego or Honolulu, which is not really feasible for me right now. And I react badly to the triptan family of medicine, which is often prescribed for migraines. I've taken 2, and both times I have severe side effects of throat and muscle tightness that made it difficult to breathe. The second time, the ear doctor just said I shouldn't ever take triptans again. Ophthalmology technician. People pretend to be blind all the time. Go to check their eye pressure with the tonopin, a device you poke them directly into the eye with, and they go, "What the FCK is that thing?" I have a sort of opposite angle story for this one. A friend of mine is completely blind, as in, eyes removed as a toddler blind. She had a rare cancer. She's worn glass eyes her whole life to keep the sockets from sinking in, as well as to limit the jarring appearance. Well, she had a new doctor she was seeing, so to speak, to get fitted for new glass eyes. I think that was why. When the tech brought her in, they told her they had to examine her eyes. And asked her to read the vision test chart. She kept trying to explain she is blind blind, and they were stuck on examining her. Whoa, your pupils aren't responding. No shit. She finally got so frustrated, she popped one glass eye out and said, here. Now you can check it out all you want. She apparently always would pull that gag on folks doubting her and or teasing her. She's awesome that way. Edit. Whoa. Stepped away for some dinner and came back to find this comment about my badass friend getting a flood of upvotes. She will love that. A few details I don't know much more about this story, as she was telling a series of oh my god are you serious encounters she's had during her life, and this was my favorite. Second favorite is probably the cop who showed up unexpectedly at her house. Turns out the call was for next door and insisted she had to be high as hell because her pupils were dilated in bright light. Yes, this was definitely a tech and not the doctor, and yes, her glass eyes are amazingly realistic, and I had no idea at first. She also endures regular bullshit for her guide dog, S. She's on her 3rd or 4th I think now, a very large and sweet German Shepherd I want to pet so bad, but can't just yet. He's too friendly with strangers, that's great normally, but she doesn't want to be yanked across the room / sidewalk / street, because he wants to be your new best friend. She got serious flack at an airport, want to say it was Denver, way back pre-9/11 because at the time they were insisting the dog couldn't go on the plane with her. Made her miss her flight. She has sworn never ever to go through that airport again. And now people with pseudo support dogs really piss me off, because their little untrained purse riding puffballs lose their barking and launching at her 100-pound shepherd that spent years getting certified. Years ago I had a patient who had been rear-ended in an auto accident a few weeks before I saw her. She had a history of lupus. She was decked out in the usual line crippled paraphernalia, crutches, neck brace, elbow braces, wrist braces, knee braces, and could barely walk. I saw her a couple of times and she showed no improvement. One Saturday I was on call, but had to take a back streets route to the hospital because of an event taking place on the main thoroughfare. I apparently drove through her neighborhood because, wonders behold, there she was wearing old lady spandex power walking down the sidewalk, holding weights in both hands. I did not call out to her. Next week, she was back in clinic, with her I'm crippled jet up on again. A few weeks later I got the subpoena for the deposition, and it all became clear. What did you do at that point? We need part 2 of this story. I could not have sworn, under oath, that I had absolutely positively identified the woman power walking. I know it was her. I later confirmed she lived in that area. She and her attorney could have argued that it was her sister or daughter or cousin, or whatever. So I just honestly answered all the questions during the deposition. Many I could not answer, because I did not see her immediately after the accident. I could, however, honestly say that I thought she had a good prognosis, and was likely to recover fully. BTW. It is not unusual for patients seeking compensation through some legal process to exaggerate the degree of their injuries. Everybody involved in the process understands this. It is however incumbent upon the patient to maintain their act in a believable fashion.